The White Horse and the Sun by Ned DeHaan, the audiobook, made available on Black Box Online Radio. Please like and subscribe. The final chapters. Chapter 1. The waves from the channel were rising and swaying, and the smell of salt water was in the air. Once someone crossed the channel bridge from the mainland to Chincoteague Island, Virginia, the smell of salt water became more powerful. Of course, places on the mainland such as Pocomoke City had a beach-style feel, but the true seaside experience began when someone crossed the channel. It was now 8 o'clock in the evening, and another August night was rolling in. The skies were clear and the sun was sinking low. However, it felt amazing to sit at a picnic table. Rita Elkin did just that. She had her laptop open, and she was also using a second screen on her iPad. Her complicated software programs were analyzing all aspects of the channel floor. Rita worked alone, and she liked it that way. It had been that way for 29 years, but that was one reason that had attracted her to a profession in oceanography. She was still full from her fried shrimp dinner at Don's Seafood, but she sure missed the Vietnamese restaurant on the island before it closed down. Rita looked down for a moment, and she saw something out of the ordinary. She had explored every inch of the Virginia coastline over the last 29 years, including the islands, and there were very few things that surprised her, but she saw a long, narrow shape. It was a glass bottle, and it was topped with a cork. Inside she could see the white paper. "Message in a bottle," Rita said to the open air. It took Rita 5 minutes to move around the dock and reach the bottle without falling in. She only got the bottom of her white and blue tennis shoe wet, and she grabbed the bottle in her hand. Upon touching it, she realized that it was actually plastic and not glass, and the cork looked like it belonged to a different bottle, but it had been jammed in place. This had piqued Rita's curiosity. After numerous years by the sea and waterways, she had never found a real message in a bottle. Once she was able to unroll the paper, the message read, "The White Horse can ride, but I know his destination. I know the location of the bomb. Cooper did not hide it. I have written it in the stars. Sun Crush." Chapter 2. 11 months ago, Barry Albert had been giving a presentation at White Horse Con, a convention that was dedicated to exploring the case of a serial killer, the White Horse Killer, a different type of serial killer mystery. There was a man sitting in jail for committing murders back in Williamsport, Maryland. His name was Emanuel Inman. Barry had always known that Manny Inman was not the White Horse Killer, or at the very least, he didn't commit all the crimes. Barry had been face to face with the real White Horse Killer multiple times. Once the White Horse Killer had beaten him to a pulp in the Jonestown Motel parking lot. During their next encounter, the White Horse Killer had tried to fight him again, but Barry had been ready. He had stabbed the White Horse with a small pocket knife, leaving him injured. The White Horse Killer had retaliated by hacking the monitors of the convention when Barry was giving a speech, and he told the participants that there was a bomb that he had buried somewhere on the eastern seaboard, and they had 1 year to dig it up. That had occurred in November, and it was now August. Barry was now 35 years old, and he still lived in the Jonestown Motel with his beloved Joanna. Barry had met Joanna when he was 29, but they had been separated for 5 years. They found each other again more than a year ago, when Barry and his new cohort, Martin Gill, had rescued her from a serial killer copycat called the Red Horse Killer. Joanna had returned to Jonestown with Barry, and they lived in his free motel room. Barry was the facilities manager for the Jonestown Motel, and they provided him with the free room. It had been more than a year since Joanna had moved in, and they had talked about getting an apartment many times, but they couldn't pass up the free housing from Barry's job. Their motel room was filled with boxes, as well as a new set of white ceramic dishes, which Joanna washed in the bathroom sink every night. Joanna worked at a gas station convenience mart down the street, called Cheetah Mart, and she had been promoted to shift supervisor. She thought that she was in line for the assistant manager job, but it seemed she would have to wait. Barry and Joanna had a simple existence. They had an overpacked motel room to live in. Barry worked from 9 to 5 and Joanna from 2 to 10. Their cycles were a little off, but they spent every night together. No exceptions. A big difference between Barry Albert and Joanna Skite was that Barry couldn't forget about the White Horse Killer. He knew that Joanna wanted to move on and leave the serial killer stories in the past. Joanna had been traumatized by the actions of the killers that had stalked them over the years, and Barry could comprehend her feelings. But he still disagreed. Every day he spent at least 5 minutes pondering. What had happened to the White Horse Killer? Was the bomb threat real? No one had heard anything from the White Horse Killer after the convention. It was nearing midnight, and Barry was in bed next to Joanna. He was about to sleep, but she would be awake for another 3 hours. Then the pinging sound of Barry's smartphone sounded, and Barry knew that it was something bad. Only bad messages came at this hour. Even Joanna looked at Barry with disdain. "It's Martin," said Barry. "He just messaged me on Facebook." Martin Gill was the editor-at-large for TrueCrimeGovernment.com, and he was also a mastermind when it came to reporting on true crime news and making connections with law enforcement. "What did he say?" Joanna asked. "He says, 'Can I call you?'" Barry stated. "It's urgent." "Oh, no," Joanna murmured. "If Martin is messaging at this hour, it can't be good," Barry sneered. It was Barry who called Martin, but the call wouldn't connect. Then 5 seconds later, Martin's call came in. "Hello," said Barry. "Yellow?" Joanna jokingly mocked Barry's preferred way to answer the phone. "Hi, Barry," said Martin on the other end. I know it's been a while, but, how are you? How is Joanna?" "I'm fine," Barry returned. "What's going on?" "You didn't let me answer," Joanna teasingly whispered with a smile. "Everything is fine," Martin continued. "Well, sort of. I'm going to be very honest with you, Barry. I have someone else on the line, and she would like to talk to you." Barry put the phone on speaker so Joanna could hear too. "You have someone else on the line?" Barry repeated. "Oh, no," Joanna mouthed. "Yes, I do," Martin confirmed. "Her name is Rita Elgin. She would like to ask you something real fast." "Okay, I suppose," Barry agreed. "Hello, your name is Barry Albert." The voice of Rita Elgin came over the line. "You're in Pennsylvania." "I am," Barry concurred. "Nice to meet you. How may I help you?" "I live in Virginia," she revealed. "Oh, I'm not sure if you follow the news like Martin does, but I found something 2 days ago. I found a paper inside a bottle at Chincoteague Island, Virginia, and it says, 'The White Horse can ride, but I know his destination. I know the location of the bomb. Cooper did not hide it. I have written it in the stars, and it's signed with the name Sun Crush.'" Barry knew exactly where the discussion was headed. Someone else had found a White Horse Killer connection, and he didn't want anything to do with it. "I don't know how much help I can be," Barry began. "Please, Mr. Albert," she begged. "I found this paper 2 days ago, and yesterday night I was watching the news, and a woman was found dead in the Food City parking lot in Pocomoke. I mean, that is always terrible, but they said that she had been shot in the back of the head, and a note had been left on top of her body. Well, it was partially tucked into her pants, and it said Sun Crush, the same name." Joanna's facial expression turned from an inquisitive one to a disgusted one. "I immediately informed the police about the message that I found in the bottle," said Rita. "I have talked with them, and they think it's related, but they won't tell me anything else." I I am so sorry, Barry went on, but what can I do for you? When I spoke to the police, they had shared information with me, Rita elaborated. I don't even think that was some of it that maybe went out in the press. I don't know. The woman had a note on her body. It said Sun Crush. The paper had been burned around the edges, charred black. But the opposite side of the paper had another message. It said FNDBA. I had no idea what that meant either. I spent all day on the internet and I found Martin Gill's website, True Crime Government. He told the story of the White Horse Killer. They sent a familiar letter in the similar way. FNDBA. The White Horse Killer sent you a message. Find Barry Albert. Is that what this is? Barry felt cold, and that was abnormal for an August night. He sat on the bed and Joanna was equally blank. Barry knew it. She was 100% correct with her deductions. He knew that that was the meaning of the letter. It's possible, he downplayed. Mr. Albert, what do I do with this information? She asked. I've spoken with the police, and they aren't completely sure how things are connected. I heard of the White Horse Killer in the news, but I know nothing about him other than the name, and I don't know what to do. And what does this word mean? Sun Crush? The police don't know anything, or if they do know something, they're not telling me. And the police are also saying that they think the same person who left the note on the girl's body also wrote the message in the bottle, but I just don't know what to do. They've assured me that White Horse Killer is in jail, and his name is Emmanuel Inman. I have a Ph.D. in geology, and my research is in historical oceanography. I spent years studying fossilized oceanographic fragments, and now I concentrate on seafloor spreading and its relation to bayside ecosystems. I have an eye for detail, but my work has always been clear and straightforward, but I never thought that I would find something like this. Barry knew what Dr. Rita Elgin was talking about. He had never asked to be associated with the White Horse Killer. She had walked into a situation, and she had found a clue in a serial killer mystery. Well, I understand the value of your time, said Barry. I want to be clear, the person who sent that message with the Find Barry Albert was not the White Horse Killer. I mean, it was a man pretending to be him, calling himself the Red Horse Killer. It was a copycat. But what do I do? Rita asked. I feel like with this information, I have to do something. I have to tell someone, and someone is out there. I've tried to talk to people, but no one can tell me what to do. What does this word even mean? Sun Crush? I don't understand. I wish I had more to tell you, Barry consoled. Hi, you said your name is Rita, right? Joanna interjected. Dr. Rita Elgin, Ph.D., she answered. I didn't know someone else was there. My name is, Joanna Skite. I live with Barry, she answered. It sounds like you are dealing with another copycat. Oh, was all Dr. Rita could say. I was the victim that was abducted by the Red Horse Killer, said Joanna. Then he sent that message. Find Barry Albert. Hi, Joanna, Martin Gill chimed in. This person in Dr. Rita's note clearly knew about the White Horse Killer's threat to detonate a bomb. Yes, but that story was shared in the news, Joanna went on, and hundreds of people were there who could have shared it too. 3 of them were us. This sounds like someone who's playing another serial killer game. Why do you say that? Martin asked. It's like some people want what the White Horse Killer had, she started. They want to be mentioned in the news. They want to play the game of cat and mouse. They want to create this serial killer persona. With the Red Horse Killer, we don't think that he killed anyone, other than when he took his own life. And with the Soft Eyes Killer, I don't think he killed another person at all. I think he was just committing a sick and twisted prank. But this Sun Crush person? They are not only a prankster. Clearly a woman is dead. But it's not the White Horse Killer. The White Horse Killer wouldn't sign a letter with a name like Sun Crush, Barry added. Exactly, Joanna agreed. He tries to sound strong, and Sun Crush sounds, I don't know, childish, like baby talk. If the Soft Eyes Killer were still alive, I'd think that it would be possible for him, but he's long gone. Even Barry thought Joanna sounded cold when she talked about the Soft Eyes Killer. So what must I do? Dr. Rita asked. The killer will act again, said Joanna. He will go after a different woman. Oh, no, said Dr. Rita. I agree, Barry spoke again. Joanna is right. This person is most likely a copycat of the White Horse Killer. Not the same person, but they have followed the story and they want to put it into action. What would you do if you were me, Mr. Albert? I would follow the news stories for anything about more messages in a bottle, Barry began. If you have social media, I would share the story as much as possible. There is almost no way to know when the killer will target another woman, or maybe even a man. But the clues that he should leave behind will be found in messages in a bottle. I'll do it, she agreed. Martin can share my contact info with you, Barry offered. Please stay safe, and you can always reach out. Thank you so much, said Dr. Rita. After a few more pleasantries, they ended the call. What the hell was that? Joanna barked. Excuse me? Barry asked genuinely. She's all like, thank you, Mr. Albert, Joanna huffed. She didn't even acknowledge my comments at all. I mean, you were frozen, and she's all like, thank you, Mr. Albert. I wasn't frozen, Barry firmly defensed. I didn't want to give her false hope. I also didn't want to admit to something that I didn't truly know. You didn't start talking until I started for you, said Joanna. That's frozen. I mean, no offense, but that's what it was. I wasn't frozen, Barry raised his voice. Be honest, Barry, she challenged. You didn't want to get your hands dirty with another serial killer copycat. Of course I don't, Barry affirmed. Why would anybody want that? But you know, just as well as I do, that the person who left that message is a serial killer copycat, Joanna insisted. A White Horse Killer copycat. They're going to leave messages in bottles all around Virginia, and maybe other states too. Then they are going to commit murders and sign them with the name Sun Crush, something that is out of character for the White Horse Killer. Part of me still feels mad at you for calling me frozen, Barry warmed up. But I do think there is something with this Sun Crush. Sun Crush? Why the name Sun Crush? These killers are becoming dorkier and dorkier. Maybe you're just turning into a grumpy old man, Joanna teased with a smile. Then she leaned in to Barry for a kiss, which he gave. Perhaps I am, love, said Barry. I'm 35. I don't feel young anymore. You're still kind of young, said Joanna. Yes, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life being mixed up in these serial killer cat and mouse games. I don't either, Barry, Joanna agreed. Wait, Joanna. Why did the Sun Crush Killer include that message about the White Horse's bomb? Barry asked. Well, of course I don't know, Joanna almost snapped. I told you once that you could be a criminal profiler, Barry praised. You are good at this stuff. I mean, I expect that's why you were mad at Rita for not giving you any recognition during the call. Maybe, Joanna almost whimpered. But, Barry, I don't really know. Tell me everything, Barry pleaded. Everything? Joanna asked. Yes, everything, Barry restated. Tell me what you think about the White Horse Killer in the last 18 months. I'll try my best, my love, said Joanna. The White Horse Killer is out of the shadows, and the Red Horse Killer, Robbie Watterson, became a copycat. He made a silly video, and the White Horse Killer decided to re-announce his public presence. The Red Horse played a game with you, and the White Horse wanted to try and use you as an opponent as well. It's not really a physical battle. It's a battle of wits. He always believed that he could overpower you, but he wanted to outsmart you. What he didn't account for is that you were faster with your pocket knife than he was with anything. At some point the White Horse Killer confessed to his secret confidant, whom we call the Soft Eyes Killer. I mean, I shouldn't even call him that. The Soft Eyes only existed in a series of phone calls that he made to that motel phone right over there. But they knew too much about each other. As I told you before, I don't think the Soft Eyes killed anyone. I think he was just trying to act out a fantasy of being a recognized criminal. When the White Horse Killer learned of his actions, he wanted to punish him. I mean, he was decapitated. It's so personal. It's like the White Horse Killer really wanted to punish him, insult his intelligence. Tell me again why you don't think they were American, Barry requested. I still believe that, said Joanna. They have, left so much evidence behind, but there were no matches, no records, no real connections. Even if they didn't want to convict the White Horse Killer for the Williamsport murders, 2 murders occurred here in Jonestown. The murder of Officer McGrady and the Soft Eyes. They should want to investigate those. I mean, maybe they're Canadian or European. Why not Australia or New Zealand? Barry asked. They don't have the accents, said Joanna. Lots of people from Canada sound just like us, and some people from Europe can learn English and sound like Americans. I'd expect that Canada is the best bet. What other clues do we have? The White Horse said that he was in the military, Barry reminded her. Yes, so a Canadian in the continental U.S. with a military background, Joanna started. Someone who had only one friend. He was most likely based somewhere near Maryland or Pennsylvania. But now we have the Sun Crush Killer, and he's operating in Virginia, Barry pointed out. Okay, one thing at a time, Joanna demanded. No, wait, that could be something. The letter and the crime occurred in Virginia, on the coast. Maybe the White Horse and the Sun Crush don't know each other. It's not like the Soft Eyes. The Sun Crush Killer could be a local to Pocomoke City or a surrounding town. Why the name Sun Crush? Barry asked. No idea, said Joanna. I agree, it's silly, but the Sun Crush Killer is, not very original. He is literally stealing the White Horse Killer's ideas. There's another reference to Cooper, Barry reminded her. William Cooper and Behold a Pale Horse. That was the book about conspiracy theories, and the White Horse Killer referenced it. See, that's it, said Joanna. That could just be someone who read about the White Horse Killer online and stole his material. No, wait, I just thought of something. What is it? Barry asked. Why did the Sun Crush Killer write the letter in the first place? She asked back. To be taunting and threatening, Barry decided. No, Joanna refused. To tell the location of the bomb. Barry was blank. This is back to the drawing board, said Joanna. Why make an empty threat like that? Again, to be taunting and threatening, Barry reiterated. I'm not so sure, said Joanna. This could also be someone who has the knowledge of the bomb, and they wanted to go public, but they didn't know how. Wait, Barry pounced. I don't believe this. So the Soft Eyes and the White Horse Killer clearly knew each other, and the Soft Eyes tried to put on a series of serial killer pranks, and the White Horse Killer put an end to it. He literally murdered him for it. So 1 year later, the Sun Crush Killer is going to do the exact same thing? How many people did the White Horse Killer tell his secrets to? 3, said Joanna. The 2 copycats, and you. You really think someone would risk that? Barry asked. I do, Joanna argued. Some people are crazy.